This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, let's start. Right. So in the last session, we have discussed about what uh, all the four events: process before output, process after input, and POH and POV. Okay, and we have seen different screen elements like input fields, text fields, push buttons, those things. Okay. Now let us see this requirement. Yeah, this is the requirements here. So I want a screen which should contain tab strip control. Tab strip control, which is a collection of tab buttons. Okay, so a tab strip control is a collection of what? Tab button. So in this case, I want two tabs. Tab 1 and what? Tab 2. Each tab will associate it. Box designing is pending from previous requirement. What is that, Jyoti? No, I think we have completed. Let me cross check. ZCAT, I'll just go to program. Z830 mod 4. Yeah, we are done with this example.
So for this requirement, we need to design box also.
No, box, I think I have not
As shown
told.
in the image.
One second, let me just cross check. Acha, okay, you want nothing change here. I can put it in a box. Just go to the layout. Just like a selection skin, begin of block and end of block. Here, if you want it in a box kind of appearance, take the box element and draw it on top of that. Okay, double click on this. I'll give the name of the box as BX1. I'll give text as something material data. That's all. Okay, save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this once. Right click on the whole program. Activate. When I execute this, yeah, I got a block kind of appearance. So just wherever you want a block kind of appearance, you place a box and provide some name and some text. That's all.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, where we are now. So this is a requirement now, not this. This one. So my screen should contain what? A tab strip control, which should contain two tab buttons. Each tab should be associated with what? A subscreen. Am I clear? Each tab should be associated with a subscreen. Okay, and one important point is here in dialog programming, a subscreen cannot sit directly on normal screen. Okay, a subscreen cannot be, a subscreen cannot sit directly on the normal screen. So what we have to do, we have to take subscreen area. Understood? Under each tab, we have to take a subscreen area. On top of the subscreen area, subscreen will come and sit in the runtime. Am I clear? So I can use the same subscreen area for all the tabs, or if you want, you can take what? Separate subscreen area for each tabs. But important point is subscreen cannot sit directly on top of normal screen. So in between normal screen and subscreen, we should take what? Subscreen area. Okay, so this is the overall requirement. So why we require this tab strip concept is, if you see any standard transaction, suppose if I go to, suppose for example, what, MM01, for example, MM01, material creation. I'll give some material number. Okay, I'll give some industry sector. Material type, if I press enter, yeah, I'll just give the material number as something. Yeah, okay, I'll choose some view here. So I got another standard screen. You can see here we have the tabs here. Na? We have the tabs. Understood? So basic data 1 is having what? One tab. Basic data 1 is having what? One tab. Understood? If I click on basic data 2, I'll get another tab. Okay, so what the customer requirement would be, in between these standard tabs, I need to plug what? Custom tab. Am I clear? In between the standard tabs, we need to plug the custom tab, so that when the user clicks on the custom tab, I should show the custom subscreen which contains what? Customer specific fields. Am I clear? In between the standard tabs, we need to associate what? When additional tab, that additional tab on click should show some subscreen, and that subscreen should contain what? Some customer specific fields. It should contain what? Some customer specific fields. Okay, so in order to achieve this in standard transaction, we should have the knowledge of enhancements also. So when we come to cross applications, enhancement techniques, customer exits baddies, we'll see how to do it. But apart from the enhancement techniques, we should also use module pool concept. So here what I'll do is, instead of doing in the standard transaction, I want my own custom transaction which should contain a tabs. Understood? Something like this. So plugging custom tab in what? Standard transaction. Standard transaction will have some predefined tabs. In between the predefined tabs, I need to plug what? Some custom tab, so that when the user clicks on the custom tab, I should able to show what? Custom subscreen. So this is your custom what? Subscreen. Custom subscreen showing what? Customer specific fields. Showing customer specific fields. So in order to do that in the standard transaction, apart from module pool, we should have the knowledge of enhancement techniques. So in cross application, we'll see this. Okay, but here in case of our Core Abap, to understand how to work with the standard transaction, we are discussing this example. Okay, so my screen should contain a tab strip control with the two tab buttons. So since we have two tab buttons, how many subscreens I require? Two subscreens, but subscreen cannot sit directly on the what? Normal screen. So in between subscreen and a normal screen, we have to take a control called a subscreen area. I can use the same subscreen area for all the tabs, or we can use separate subscreen area for each of the tabs. Okay, so let me go to that. So I'll go to Object Navigator, SEAT, right? So here from the drop down, I'll choose program. I'll give the program name as Z830 modify. Press enter. So it is saying that program 830 modify does not exist. Create the object. Yes. Let us create this module program along with what? Top include. So I'll choose create with top include. Continue. Provide the name of the top include program. Let me give it as something Z830 something Z830 modify top. Continue. What is the type of program? Module pool. If you want to get a title, you can give here. I'll just give the title as something tab strip control, what subscreen area. Okay, subscreen, some title I'll give. Okay, what is the type of program? Module pool. Let us save it in what? Local objects. Done. Right, it is saved in the local object. Next, as part of this program, under we have what? One top include program which is blank at this stage. If I double click on this, it is showing what? Blank top include program. Let us right click on the program and create the screen. So already we know this process. Again, I'm not repeating. Right click on the program, create what? Screen. Let us give the screen number as what? 100. Provide the, it has opened the screen painter tool. As part of the attributes tab, I'll provide some short description. I'll get something screen 100. What is the screen type? Normal screen only. Go to what? Layout. Right. So as part of this layout, I'll take one tab strip control. You can see here we have what? Tab strip control on the toolbox. Click and draw. Right. This is my tab strip control. Every control on the screen should have a name. Na? So double click on this. I'll give the name of this tab strip control as TBSTR. You can give any name. I'll give it as TBSTR. Right. TBSTR. And you can see here how many tabs I'm getting? A two tabs. For the tab strip control only, if I go to property window of tab strip control, there's a property called as tab title. It is showing it as two. No? If I say 6 here, it will show 6 tabs. Am I clear? So I want only 2 tabs. I'll go for 2 tabs. Done. Then what you have to do? Under each tab, we should place a subscreen. But what I told, a subscreen cannot be placed directly on what? Normal screen. A subscreen is always placed on top of what? Subscreen area. So what you have to do is, under each tab, I need to place a subscreen area. Subscreen is different, subscreen area is different. Subscreen area is a control, whereas subscreen is a runtime object. Okay. So I'll select the tab 1. I'll select the tab 1. Under tab 1, I'll draw the subscreen area. On the toolbox, you can see here, we have a control called as what? You can see we have a control called as what? Subscreen area. So under tab 1, I'll draw it. I'm drawing it in what? Tab 1. Am I clear? So for this subscreen area, understood? For this subscreen area, I'll give a name. I'll give a name. So I'll double click on the subscreen area. What is the name it has proposed by default? Ref1 itself. If I double click on subscreen area, it has proposed the name as Ref1. If you want, you can change it. I'll change it to something S area 1, something subscreen area 1. Right? Name of the what? Subscreen area I get is S area 1. Okay. Similarly, okay. So I place the subscreen area in the tab 1. For the tab 1 also, I have to set the properties. Tab is also like a push button. What are the properties we'll set for the push button? Name, text and function code. Na? So I'll double click on the tab 1, right? It has opened the property window of tab 1. I'll change the name to something T1, right? Text I'll give it as something employee, something. Okay, function code, let us give it as FC1. Function code is what? FC1. And you can see here, There is another important part, reference field. What is the reference field it is taking? S area 1. Understood? Because as part of the tab 1, I placed a subscreen area and I named it as what? S area 1. Na? So what are the important properties for the tab buttons? Name, text, function code and reference field. If it is a normal push button, we will not set any reference field. Only for the tab button, we have to set the reference field. So I give the reference field as what? S area 1. Similarly, I'll double click on tab 2, right? I'll give the name as something T2. Text, I'll give it as something department. Text is department. Function code, let us give it as FC2. And you can see here, what is the other important mandatory property for tab buttons? Reference field. So it is asking the reference field. So what I can do, I can take one more subscreen area and place it in the tab 2, and I can give some name for the subscreen area. If you want to use the same subscreen area, we can use. So what I'll do for the department tab also, right? I'll give the reference field as S area 1. S area 1. So what is the meaning? I'm using the same subscreen area for both the tab buttons. So if I press enter, yes, you can see it is automatically placed. For the second tab also, same subscreen area is placed. So they are the 4 important properties for a tab button: name, text, function code and subscreen area. For both the tabs, I'm using what? Same subscreen area. Okay, let me take one push button for exit. I'll give the name as B1. Text, I'll give it as something exit. Function code, let us give it as FC3. Function code is FC3. Okay, let me save it. Check for the syntax. That's all. So I'll summarize once again. Oh, it is not saved. Huh? It is not saved. Let me stop the transaction. I'll try to re-log in. Yeah, screen is created. If I double click on the screen, if I open it in change mode, if I go to layout, yeah, it is designed fine. Okay, so what is the function code of this? FC3. Okay, so I'm using the same subscreen area for what? Both the tab buttons. So let me write the logic for exit button here. What is the event triggered when you click on the push buttons? PA. So in the screen under it, if I double click, PA model does not exist. Create the object. Yes, I'll create that in the top include program. When FC3, what is this? Leave program. End for cases, end case. Save it, check for the syntax, activate this. So what we have done so far, we created the normal screen, 100. What is the screen number? 100 is the screen number. As part of this normal screen layout, I took a tab strip control. The name of the tab strip control is TBSTR, and tab title I set 2 because we require 2 tab buttons. In the first tab, I placed a subscreen area. I renamed it as what? S area 1. Understood? I renamed it as S area 1. And for the tab, what are the important properties for the tab buttons? Name, text, function code, reference field. Reference field will hold the name of the subscreen area. For the second tab also, I gave the reference field as what? S area 1, so that the same subscreen area is used. Done. So we are done with the normal screen. We require two subscreens. Understood? Because we have two tab buttons, I require two subscreens. How to design the subscreens here? See this. And what is the layout I want for each subscreen? In each subscreen, I can place whatever I want. I can place checkboxes, radio buttons, input fields, push buttons, whatever you want, you can place inside the subscreens. Okay, so let me provide some static text like employee data and what department data. I'll create a subscreen. How do you create a subscreen? See, right click on the program, create what? Screen. Okay, I'll give the screen number as 200. It will open me what? Screen painter tool. I'll give the description as what? Screen 200. And you can see here in the attributes tab only, there is something called as what? Screen type. What is the screen type shown here? Subscreen. Screen type is subscreen. So I'll just choose what? Subscreen. Screen type is subscreen. I'll go to what? Layout. Right. So in this subscreen 200, I can take whatever I want. Let us take some static content. So I'll take the text field here. Okay, I'll double click on this. I'll give the name of the text field as something TF1. TF1, I'll provide the text as something employee data. That's all. You can design whatever you want. Inside this subscreen also, I can take push buttons, whatever elements you want, you can take. So I just took this, save it, check for the syntax error. So what is that subscreen number? 200. Screen type is what? Subscreen. So my designing of subscreen 200 is completed, which has got some text field. Similarly, I'll take another screen. Right click on the program, create what? Screen. I'll give the screen number as something 300. Any number I can take from 1 to 9,999. I'll provide some description here. Subscreen 300. What is the screen type I have to choose? Subscreen. Design the layout. So I'll go to layout. Right. I'll take the text field here. I'll give the name as something TF1. I can take TF1 here also, because that TF1 is available in another screen. This is different screen. So I can take same name. I'll give it as department data. That's all. Okay, save it, go for. So we have overall designed what? Three screens. One is normal screen, another is what? Two subscreens. Okay, let me activate this. Already I wrote the logic for the exit button. Na? When I click on the button, what is the event triggered? PI. So in the screen 100 PI, in the screen 100 PI event, you should not write wherever you want. That exit button is there in screen 100. Na? That's the reason in screen 100 flow logic, as part of PA event, I wrote the logic for what? Exit. Okay. So better activate everything. You have to create the transaction code. Na? Module programs can be executed only through transaction. So I'll right click on the program, create what? Transaction. It takes a control to SC93. I'll give the name as something ZM5. Provide some description. T code for module program Z830 modify. Right, what is the radio button? Program and screen. Yeah, provide some description. Sorry, provide some program name. What is the program name? Z830 modify. Screen number. To which screen you want to create the T code? I mean clear. Overall we have how many screens? Three screens. You have to create the T code for the main screen. What is the main screen here? 100. So if you browse, it is showing all the what? It is showing all the screen numbers. What I need to choose? 100. Right, I'll choose 100 as usual. I'll select the checkboxes: GA for HTML, GA for Java, GA for Windows. Save it, specify the package. I'll save it in the local object. That's it. Right click on the program and activate. So what we have done so far is we created the normal screen which contains a tab strip control, and the tab strip control has got two tab buttons. For both the tabs, I use the same subscreen area. I named it as S area 1. And I designed two subscreens, 200 and what 300. Understood? While designing the screens, what is the radio button? You have to choose in the attribute. Screen type is what? Subscreen. For 300 also, screen type is subscreen is what? 300. Done. But we have to link this 200 and 300 with the tab buttons. No? We have not yet linked. Let's see what happens. Right click on this, activate the program. Let us execute. So the T code is linked with what? Normal screen 100. Na? Let us see whether the normal screen is displayed or not. So when I execute, yeah, I got the runtime error. What is the runtime error here? Control variable not found. Okay, control variable not found. Excuse me. 1 second, please. Yeah. So what is that I got? Control variable not found. The current program 5 had to be terminated because it has come across a statement that unfortunately cannot be executed. Search performed for the control tbstr. This could not be found, however. So your normal screen 100 contains a control called as tab strip control. What is the name I gave for the tab strip control? tbstr. tbstr. So if your screen contains tab strip control, I repeat, if your screen contains tab strip control, the tab strip control should be declared explicitly. Should be declared what? Explicitly. So what I have to do is, we have to declare the tab strip control explicitly. So where do we declare? All the declarations, you will do it in the top include program. So go to top include program. In the top include program, I'll say controls, what is this? tbstr type what? Tab strip. This is the syntax for declaring the tab strip control. How do you declare? We have to use the keyword controls. What is the data type? Tab strip. The data type is a tab strip. So let me save, check for the syntax, activate this. So I declare the tab strip control. If you don't declare the tab strip control, you will get that particular runtime error. So the thumb rule is, if your screen contains a special control like tab strip control, it should be declared explicitly by using what? Controls keyword. And what is the data type of that? Tab strip. So let me activate and check whether we are able to get the screen or not. I click on the program, execute what? Direct processing. Good. What happened here? The first tab is active, but that subscreen is not associated. So since the first tab is active, what is my requirement here? I want, by default, second tab needs to be active. I want the second tab to be active by default. First tab is active, so I want the second tab to be active by default. So what I'll do is, already we know in module pool, when we start the execution, what is the first event triggered? PBO, na? Right? PBO event will be triggered twice. First time it will trigger, and every time afterward PA. So what I'll do is, I will ensure that this logic is executed only once. So in the top include program, I'll declare one indicator kind of thing, v underscore something flag type I. You can give any name. I gave it as flag type integer. What is the default value of this integer? 0, na? So observe this. So whenever we start the execution, what is the first event triggered? PBO. So in the PBO event, I'll uncomment the PBO module. Here I'll write that module in the top include program, and here I'll say, yeah, observe this. I don't want the back buttons, all those things. So directly I'll say if v underscore flag equal to 0. When it will be 0? First time the default value for integer is what? 0. So now what I'll do after entering into this, I'll change the flag value to other than 0. I'll make it as what? 1. So that after PA also again PBO is triggered. So when the PBO is triggered, this if condition will fail. Only for the first time flag is 0. The moment it enters the if block, flag becomes how much? 1. So what is the agenda now? I have to make the second tab as active by default. What is the name of the tab strip control? TBSTR hyphen. Tab strip control has got one property called as active tab, right? TBSTR hyphen active tab equal to which tab button you want to activate by default. Second one, what is the function code? FC2. That's all. Understood? Second tab is active by default. Second tab is active by default. So what are the default logic you want to execute? That you have to write that in the PBO event. PBO event, because that is the first event triggered. Done, activate this. So the moment you start the execution, what happens? The T code is linked to the screen 100. Na? What is the first event triggered? PBO. So the control goes to PBO model. What is the value of flag in the memory? 0. Yes, first time it is 0. After entering in that, flag becomes what? 1. Then I'm saying active tab equal to what? FC2. Second tab will be active. Done. Let's activate it. Activate everything. Execute the program now. Yes. Which tab is active? Second tab is active. So the second tab should be associated with the subscreen, corresponding subscreen. How many subscreens we have? 2 subscreens. What are the subscreen numbers? 200 and what? 300. Since the second tab is active, I have to make the second subscreen to be associated with the second tab. Na? So what I'll do is in my top include program, observe this carefully. I'll declare one variable v underscore screen number type what? sy hyphen dynr. Understood? sy hyphen dynr is a system field. Is a system field for what? Screen number. I'll give the default value as something 300. So what is the value of this variable scr number? 300 is the default value because we have two screens, two subscreens, 200 and 300. I want to show 300 by default. So I declared a variable holding that value as 300. So whenever we call, what is the first event triggered? PBO. Na? So in the PBO event only, I have to write the logic to populate the subscreen. So how do you populate? We have to use this statement call subscreen, subscreen area. What is that subscreen area? S area 1, including subscreen program, followed by subscreen number. What is the subscreen number you want to show? 300. Na? The 300 is stored in that variable. Na? So where is the 300 is available? Within the same program. How do you refer to the current program? Rep ID followed by v underscore scr number. V underscore scr number. Am I clear? Call subscreen area, including subscreen program followed by subscreen number. Okay, so let's see that. This statement should be written only in the flow logic. It cannot be written wherever you want. So why I wrote here means the moment you start the execution of the module program, what is the first event triggered? PBO. So in the screen 100, in the PBO event module only, I am calling the subscreen. What is the syntax for calling the subscreen? Call subscreen area, including subscreen program name, followed by subscreen number. Which is subscreen you want to show by default? 300. The 300 is anyhow there in this variable v underscore scr number. I declared a variable whose default is 300. And where it has to check for the 300? In the current program. So this is the program where it will check for that particular 300 subscreen. Understood? So the syntax for calling the subscreen in module pool is call subscreen, subscreen area, including subscreen program name, followed by subscreen number. Understood? And if you have different subscreen area for each of the tabs, what you have to do, you have to write this statement once again here, just change the subscreen area name. But here in my case, I don't have, I'm using the same subscreen area for both the tabs. Done. Save it, check for the syntax, activate. Okay, so the moment you start the execution, PBO event gets triggered. What is the logic I wrote in the PBO? I am calling which subscreen? 300. That 300 will be available in the default tab. What is the default tab in our case? Second tab. So when I execute, yes, we got the default tab as department and what is the subscreen 300. In the runtime, user might click on this employee. So again, I have to show which subscreen now? 200 subscreen. Not coming. Again, the user might click on department. Again, this should come back. Understood? I should able to shuffle. So what I'll do, whenever I click on the tab buttons, I repeat, whenever I click on the tab buttons, what is the event triggered? PAI. So in the PAI event module, here only, what is that? If I click on the first tab, when FC1, I need to activate the tab now. How do I activate? TBSTR hyphen what? Active tab equal to activate that and set the screen number to 200. So already we know whenever we click on the tab button, what is the first event triggered? PAI. So it will come to PAI event. We are activating the tab and we are setting the SCR number value 200. After this, again the control goes to PBO. PBO event will be triggered twice. First time it will trigger plus every time after what? PA. So first time anyhow we are showing this. Again it comes to PBO. What is the current value of screen number? 200. That 200 will be shown. Similarly, if the user clicks on the second tab again, have to activate the tab. So FC2, when FC2, right, active tab equal to, what is the active tab? FC2, what is the subscreen number? 300. So point you have to understand is whenever I click on the tab buttons, what is the event triggered? PAI. So in the PAI event, I'm activating those tabs and I'm setting the screen number to this variable. After executing this logic, again the control goes to what? PBO. So in the PBO, while calling the subscreen, I'm referring to the variable v underscore screen number. So that screen number will be populated as a subscreen. That's it. Okay, right click on the program and activate. So when I execute this, okay, by default, the second tab is active. If I click on this, yes, first tab is coming. If I click on this again, second tab. Like this, we can control the tab strip control with a different tab buttons and we can associate. Okay, so this is the overall development process for this particular requirement. So how do you call subscreen in module pool? This is the syntax. Call subscreen, subscreen area, including subscreen program name, followed by subscreen number. And this syntax we cannot write wherever you want. It is recognized only in the flow logic section. So that's the reason I wrote in the flow logic. Yeah, any questions, please ask. No questions? Okay, so practice this part. Tomorrow we'll see other example. We'll see tomorrow table control. Today we are seeing tab strip control. Tomorrow we'll see table control. And another important point you have to remember is if your screen contains tab strip control, we should declare the tab strip control explicitly by using what? Controls keyword. What is the data type here? Tab strip. Okay, if you don't declare the tab strip control, it leads what? To runtime error. Yes, any questions, please? Okay, so practice this part. We'll continue tomorrow with other controls. So I'm going very slow phase. Module pool is important. Module pool is important when you go to certain topics in cross applications and in object node also. In ALV reporting here and there, we'll be using the what this particular module pool concepts. Okay, so try to understand how to work with all the controls, all the events, all those things. Tomorrow we'll see most probably with what table control. So I'm done. Any questions before I log off? No questions? Chalo then. I'll wind off. We'll continue tomorrow.